This episode is sponsored by Close. With over 10 years of experience crafting hand-built composite instruments, Close provides the widest selection of premium carbon fiber instruments in the world, from acoustics to ukuleles, electrics and basses, even mandolins. When picking an instrument, Close doesn't want you to have to make a choice between performance and portability. These instruments stay in tune and intact, whether you're hopping venues or cresting mountains. Every Close instrument is plecked, which means you'll get low action and buttery smooth playability each time you pick up your instrument. Check out Close to find instruments you'll not only take with you, but ones you won't want to leave behind.
All right. Hey, music lovers, welcome to Musical Miles Podcast. I'm your host, Byron Duffin, and I am here with our new friends, Alan and Ellen Herrick from Long Island, New York.
How we doing today?
We're great, man. Thanks for joining us. We actually met you here in person, but we messaged a little bit. These folks have actually been watching our podcast for a little bit.
Yep, great podcast.
Kind of found it because of the Las Vegas.
Because of this festival. I saw the interview you did with Rob Hatch and Matt Warren.
Yeah, and so then Alan reached out to me before we came and said, hey, we're going to be there. We'd love to meet you and hang out. And so we've hung out all weekend, off and on. We've been busy doing podcast interviews, but they came and watched one with Eric Pasley.
That was awesome.
Which was really, really cool. Eric, what a talent.
We saw him live that same day. He played at Rhythm and Riffs, and incredible. Just an incredible talent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what a guy. And he should have been an NBA basketball player.
He was
When
tall.
you see the picture of me with him, I feel like a midget. But anyway, these folks live on Long Island and have been they're a little younger than we are, so not quite as long music fans as we have been, but love live music just like Shanda and I do.
That was one of the things that drew me to your podcast, was how you said you and your wife travel all the time for music. We do the same thing.
Right.
We go all over, and I just felt like it was a little bit of a connection.
Well, it's been a great connection. And of course, we've invited them to come out and hang out with us in Idaho. They've invited us to Long Island. We got to get out there. It's one place I've never been. You guys have never been to Idaho either, have you? No. So we get to explore some together. So it's going to be fun.
All right.
But tell us what really drew you, what made you be such great music fans. We've talked about this, but let's share it with our viewers.
I think both of us kind of grew up in a family where the radio was always on. You know, my house, it was 1050 WHN was the station that my parents played all the time.
Okay.
And it was Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, Alabama, the Oak Ridge Boys, the Bellamy Brothers, Don Williams, just all of that. It was just grew up listening to that.
Yeah, and you just mentioned some that I've actually been blessed to see, the Bellamy Brothers. I saw Don Williams live at Billy Bob's in Texas years ago. Oh, it was probably not long before he passed, but what a cool experience, right? And but in our house, same deal. We didn't have live music, obviously, but we had a record player. We didn't have a very good radio station where we lived because Idaho, probably growing up in the 60s, when I was there, was probably less than 500,000 people in the entire state. So I listened to KOMA out of Oklahoma City at night because we could get it at night. You couldn't get it during the day. So I'd go down and lay in bed and turn on KOMA and listen. Of course, growing up in the 70s, I was listening to more of the rock scene and, but most of those guys could be classified as country music today. The Eagles, CCR, and a lot of that stuff. Because that music is way tamer than some country music today. So tell us, who was your first concert?
Oh, God, we're going back so far. I was probably 16 or 17. So at that time, it was more rock and roll or hair bands. There was a Long Island band called Zebra that I saw at Sundance back on Long Island. That was the club where all the local bars played. And then another hair band was White Lion. So those are my first two concerts.
Okay, how about yours?
I think mine was Billy Joel when he performed at Yankee Stadium.
Oh,
that's a great first one. Better than mine.
What a great first one, yeah. Billy Joel.
Billy's
at Yankee Stadium of all places, right? Never seen Billy Joel live. My first one was Three Dog Night at 12, and what a cool concert that was. Miss Shanda was exposed to a lot of music early on because her mom was a songwriter, and so she got to see Jerry Jeff Walker when she was like 12. she saw lots of great artists. But her and I actually, she saw Marty Robbins. Was that your first? Okay, Marty Robbins was her first. But her and I didn't know each other at the time, but we were both at an Alice Cooper concert in Phoenix. I loved Alice Cooper growing up.
Wow.
He was I think the draw to Alice Cooper for me was the dark side.
Sure.
He was the guy who bit the head off. Well, that was Ozzy, bit the head off the bat, but nonetheless, he was a very dark character.
Absolutely.
Wore the makeup and the.
I never saw him live. We saw AC/DC. We saw some pretty heavy bands.
Our 14-year-old son, we sat in the parking lot at an AC/DC concert while he went with his friends, and I'm still pissed I didn't.
Should have went
Find
inside.
a ticket and go with them. But his friends invited him, and so I didn't have a ticket to go. But we were headed to Arizona. So, and we could probably only afford one ticket at the time.
that would
So, poor with a bunch of kids. And so, but we have seen a lot of great live music since. I mean, in our 43 years, we started to make a list. And I don't know how many she's got on there now, but in the last year, we've probably seen somewhere in the neighborhood of 400 live artists, whether it's...
Well, you saw 50 this weekend.
Saw 50, well, you saw 50 more than 50, well, I guess technically 50. But and that's what we'd see. You see a songwriter around with 3 or 4 artists up there. Yeah, they may have only sang 2 or 3 songs, but nonetheless, you saw them perform, right? And so we've seen... oh my gosh, and of course, there's some legendary venues that we haven't been to that you have, Yankee Stadium and some of those big stadiums back east that we don't have in the West. We've seen stuff at the Salt Palace in Salt Lake, but for us, I think of iconic venues are not always the big ones, right? But for us in the West, or even in Texas, Green Hall, the Devil's Backbone Tavern, Cheatham Street Grill, Cheatham Street Warehouse.
Were you going to say Denver?
No.
Red Rocks.
Carnegie Hall.
Oh, now Carnegie. See, I would love to see Carnegie.
Is that Little Big Town?
Little Big Town in Carnegie Hall.
Yep.
And believe it or not, we've interviewed some artists who have played at Carnegie Hall, right? Some cowboy artists that you would not think would play at Carnegie Hall, but not country artists. These are international Western artists.
We were surprised. I thought that was all like classical music and things like that at Carnegie. I didn't expect, but when we saw Little Big Town, that was a great show.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful theater.
So, if you had to pick one album of your life that really, whether it really inspired you or whether you just loved it, it's an album you would go back to and could listen to multiple times.
I don't know if it's fair to use a greatest hits album, and I don't know if it's the one I would necessarily pick, but the George Strait greatest hits.
Oh, yeah.
That album, every song on there. Every song.
Well, and we just saw The Man Who Wrote.
11 of them, I think. You said it was 11?
11 number one.
Number one.
But I think they said 197 hits total. When he interviewed that, yes, in the second interview, I think he said 197 songs.
Well, he told,
something like that.
Not for George. George was 87. 87 for George, but Toby Keith was 39, so it's probably cuts, major cuts, right? Was no doubt 187, but 87 or something like that were just George, and 11 of those.
Crazy to think,
but that's just astronomical. I mean, what are the odds, right? So we got to hear. Here's what's crazy, and you got to tell our viewers, because I've told them, listen, guys, don't believe me. Believe these songwriter fans. There's no place in the world you can rub shoulders with the greatest songwriters.
Such a different experience. We were just telling the story that we've seen Lee Brice a number of times over the years.
Right.
And his last concert, the Me and My Guitar, was kind of how we got exposed to the songwriter point of view, because it was just him up on stage with a guitar telling the story about, the songwriter and how he met the writer and how they came up with the song. And that experience was, we had such a great time doing it.
Right.
That's why when we heard about this festival, we knew we had to come here.
Well, what's crazy to me is that I can tell this story to 100 people, and 2 still might not. 2 might get it, right? I was sharing this last year. I was headed to Livingston, and I had never been to one yet. I was headed to Livingston, Montana, and a kid that went to high school with our oldest son, him and his wife followed me to Montana and went to this, and they went, That's a cool experience. Ben, they trusted me, right? But I'm telling you, folks, there is no experience like a songwriter festival.
When we come next year, I already know a bunch of our friends. We sent them pictures of everything going on, and they were all jealous. So we're going to have at least, I'd say, 6 or 8 of this.
And guess what? They'll get here next year, and we won't have access like we had this year. I don't think. I think it will be a little tougher because
maybe
more people come.
You were the only coverage here, so I think this is your gig.
Well, I'm hoping I have access, and
right.
You will too, because you're now my East Coast rep,
excellent.
Right? For Musical Miles Podcast.
I like it.
But we'll have. Yeah, I was literally the only media here full time for the whole weekend, which is crazy to me.
And I thought we missed you a lot because you're busy doing interviews, kind of missing out on the music.
We missed 2/3 of the music, which we hate because we come because we love the music.
Right.
But we also come to meet the artists and hear their stories, because that's what's interesting to us as well to you. That you get to hear why Lee Brice is successful and what he does, and who he sat down and wrote those songs with, and where they were at. Hey, we were on a writing retreat. Does anybody know what a retreat is? And then, they explain it to you. Does anyone know what a write is? Well, and a lot of these writers have publishing deals, and most people don't understand this. If you have a publishing deal, it's a job. It's like going to work, like I did for 40 years. They're 4 days a week. They go Monday through Thursday. They show up at 10. They're done at 2. But it's a job. They have to show up, and they have stuff scheduled, and then they do writes on the side, right?
I didn't realize they schedule with different people. So I'm going to write with you tomorrow at 2:00. I'm going to meet you on Wednesday. Like it's a
and
routine.
we got to go to Curb Word Publishing, and they literally took us into a writer's room. And there's a keyboard, and there's guitars in stands, and there might be a mandolin hanging on the wall. There's a tambourine. There's stuff in there, and they sit and they get inspired. But we all just heard some incredible stories of how this happens.
Sometimes they're planned, other times it's an accident. Something funny happens, or somebody says something.
And sometimes I'll tell you. Divine
with some of those songs,
right?
Absolutely.
So many of them spoke about that.
Well, the one we just heard. Tell me his name again.
D. Vincent Williams.
Dean Vincent Williams was leaving town, and I've heard this 100 times. They call Nashville a 10-year town, right?
I got goosebumps when he told that story.
Well, because we'd heard it from the guy he wrote the song with, and I'll try not to get choked up, but. They wrote "Moving On," and he was just like, "I was done with Nashville. I didn't even want to go to this write." So and not to change the subject, but on the same note, Stephanie Davis, who's a great songwriter who wrote a lot of stuff for Garth Brooks, says we all have that one "Screw you, Nashville, I'm done." And she calls it, and I'm trying to remember if it's on an album or a song, but she called it Nashville, Gnash, like Nash,
right,
the gnashing of the teeth. She said we all get to the point where we hate Nashville because it's just beat us up and spit
these guys,
us out.
They make it look so easy because they have so many hits and they've been doing it so long. But you hear the beginning when they started, how it's years and years of.
Well, they don't call it a 10-year town for nothing. There's an artist by the name of Ward Davis. He has a song that I love, and his song is called 15 years in a 10-year town. And after 15 years, he's still trying to make it in a 10-year town. But, this is not for the weak of heart. The music industry you have got to love it, and you have got to be willing to sacrifice almost anything. Well, we just heard Matt Warren play us a song that Bob Dylan wrote.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. You will serve one or the other. You will serve either the Lord or you'll serve the devil, but you're going to serve somebody no matter what you choose to do, right? Stormy Warren said we want to be the conduit for the fans and expose them to the music and we're trying to pull the curtain back on this business.
If you couldn't be here, the podcast and watching the interviews is
but I would tell anybody, listen, this is a life-changing experience.
It's one of the best weekends we've ever had. It was just incredible.
If you love music and you can save up a few $100 to get on a cheap flight to Vegas, fly the red eye for
So we're taking home tonight
for $99, right?
It was more than that, but
Yeah, I know. But get here and do it, because you got a year. They're going to announce in a couple weeks next year's dates, and
we're booking immediately.
Yeah,
as soon as it comes out, we're booking.
As soon as we know the dates, we'll have it nailed down ourselves. But there's just no experience like this, and everybody probably gets sick of me hearing that. But once again, where do you go? I have talked to and just naturally, just organically ran into Rob Hatch 30 times this week.
Yep, they're everywhere.
You
can talk to them. You can go sit down with them, have a drink with them.
We just got done. Most people don't know, but Charles Eston. Charles Eston is a world-renowned actor and a songwriter, and he is the coolest, easiest, laid-back guy. He just took a selfie with us, like he did with you guys. Yeah, let's have a picture.
Yes. We have the picture with everybody in it. Lee Bryce is in it. Bobby Pinson. All of them.
Rob Hatch is in that
Rob
picture.
Hatch and Charles Eston took the picture. I sent it to my girls. I'm like, look, it's a picture of Lee Bryce and all these famous. They're like, that's Charles Eston. They're like, how do you know him? I'm like,
and then
we're tight.
We're good friends.
He recorded a video to send to his daughters.
Yes, it was awesome.
And you know what's crazy is that, and if you don't know who Charles Eston is, you know Nashville, the TV show Nashville. He played Deacon on Nashville, the lead character.
Outsider.
He was on Outer Banks.
Outer Banks.
Ward Davis on Outer Banks. He used to be in The Office. Did you know that? He was on The Office.
No, I didn't know that.
I think he played a role in.
Now I've got to go look at that too. And what a performer!
And I'm not an Office fan. My boys,
I
like
it. Yes.
Yeah, the kids love it. I think it's weird humor, but nonetheless. But these are people that are just glad to visit with you. Sit down, whether it's at the bar and have a drink, or at a blackjack table, or just after their show, just sit and visit. And
like we said earlier, Eric Pasley, it was last night or the night before, maybe midnight, walking back to our room. He's walking by us. I'm like, Eric. And he stopped. We took pictures with him.
Right.
Just such a nice guy.
Well, they know that they are, and not everyone's the most recognizable here. Okay, you think about this. Billy Montana, very unassuming.
Yes.
You would never think Billy was one of the stars here, but Billy's had 5 number ones and was such a prince to sit down with us. Talked to him for almost an hour. What an interesting guy. And he has a son that is an incredible songwriter in his own right. In fact, has more number ones than Dad does.
Wow.
He's got 9. So I'm just telling you that this still runs
family
deep.
business.
Not only that, well, you know the story about Dean Dillon's daughter, Jessie Jo Dillon. She's been writing with Megan Maroney. She's been writing with all kinds of stars, and I think she has 8. What did she say? Maybe 6 or 8 number ones as well. So this is a very much a family business, and they treat their fans like family.
No, they really did. It was just, we had such a good time this weekend.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, well, cool. Well, guys, this has been fun. So thankful you
Great
reached
meeting
out.
you guys in person.
Yeah, we will have. We're going to have a lot of fun in the next few years.
Yes, we are.
Meeting more songwriters and more artists.
Sounds
and
good.
The deeper we get into the songwriter, the closer we get to the artist. But Eric Pasley was a big artist.
Yes.
He's a great artist himself. Jared Neiman.
Yep.
Very successful artist. Dean Dillon had a record deal for years, and finally told me, he says, Byron, it was just after I had a couple of hits with George Strait, I went, why do I want to keep beating myself up trying to,
out on the road type of thing. I could just sit here and write the song.
Write songs and make a living, and make a great living.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, well, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Pleasure meeting you guys.
Yes, absolutely. I look forward to next time, wherever that will be.
Yeah, well, it'll be soon, we hope. So, Charles Eston played Ward Cameron. I say Ward. What did I say? Ward something else. Davis. Well, Ward Davis is an artist. I get music in my head. Anyway, great people, a lot of fun. It's just, I'm telling you guys, if you're missing out on this, you're missing out.
Absolutely. Like I said, our friends are already booking their flights.
I'm not standing at an Eric Paslay concert and have some guy pour a beer down my neck, right?
Yeah.
Or talking behind me while I'm trying to listen to the music, right? So, anyway, thanks, guys.
Great
to
Thank
have
you so much,
friends.
Pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
We love meeting you, and this is going to be great. Okay. Hey, for Musical Miles Podcast, I'm the host, Byron Duffin. Miss Shanda is the producer behind the camera because she's shy. These are our wonderful friends.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we will see you somewhere down the road.
Sounds good.
Adios for now.
Thanks.